Hello and welcome to College to Consulting. Today I'm going to go over an introduction of what market sizing is, over why do people even ask market sizing, and then give an example of how we would tackle a market sizing question at College to Consulting. Alright, so market sizing. What is it? Well, market sizing is a technique that measures the demand of a product or service across a group. So why is it even asked? Well, a consultant or an interviewer may ask you a market sizing question because it's actually a really good question. It has different components that can measure multiple criteria for a candidate or an interviewee all at the same time. For instance, it'll measure your structure and your framework of how you're going to approach the problem, your mental math skills and analytical ability, as well as your ability to explain how you derived at this answer. Explain it to another consultant, to an interviewer, or how you would explain it to a potential client. So this is a high-level view of what market sizing is. I'm going to do an example to show you of how I would approach a market sizing question. Let's say the question I get is, how many people in the US use a smartphone per year? First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out my market sizing box that I am going to need. I'm going to put in the necessary columns or fields that I'm going to discuss, as well as breakouts of the different groups that I'm going to use. Great. Now I know that this question asks how many people, so I'm going to break this down by age. And I'm going to put in the number of people in that age group, the percentage of them that use a smartphone, and my total of people who use a smartphone per year. And also put in some notes to explain my thoughts. I'm going to make some assumptions. I'm going to say the US population is about 320 million people, and I'm going to say that it's equally distributed, meaning that there are the same number of 2-year-olds as there are 78-year-olds in the US. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say that the first age group is from 0 to 20, next is from 21 to 40, 41 to 60, 60 plus, and that's my total. Because I said the US population is about 320 million people and equally distributed, and I have 4 different age groups, that means that there are 80 million people in each group. 320 divided by 4. Great. Now, for the 0 to 20-year-olds, I'm going to say that this group is really young, so not all of them have smartphones, but for the ones who are closer to teenage years and closer to 20, they really use smartphones because they communicate very, very heavily. So I'm going to say that they're very young and always talking. Now, from this group, I'm going to say that that means maybe 40% of them are using a smartphone. For 21 to 40-year-olds, okay, this group, they're pre-professionals, they're really, really busy, and they're using smartphones for work and for personal life. And I'm also going to say that they have a discretionary income, so they are more likely to buy a phone and to use it much more. So I'm going to say this group is actually 60% of this group, of the people in this group use it. For the 41 to 60-year-olds, I'm going to say this number actually is smaller. The reason is because they have many obligations, so they're always moving around, but also because they already have a certain lifestyle. So they've already built a lifestyle around how they interact with their family, and they're setting up what they want to do for their career. I'm going to say this number is lower at 20%. For the 60 plus, I'm going to say these folks are not that tech savvy, they're older, and they're used to a certain routine that doesn't require a smartphone, so they probably aren't using them. So I'm going to say this is about maybe 15%. Now, that means that of the 80 million people, 40% of them are using smartphones, so that gives me a 32. Of the 80 million people in the 21 to 40-year-old range, I said 60% of people, so that gives me 48. Of the next group, the 41 to 60-year-olds, 20% of 80 is 16. And for the 60-plus-year-olds, 15% of 80 is 12. So if I add these numbers up, 32 plus 48 is 80. 80 plus 16 is 96. 96 plus 12 is 108. So 108 million people in the U.S. are using a smartphone per year. Got it? For other material, we have how to do market sizing by age, more in depth, by profile, and by household. Okay?